We'll call this the warm-up for Clash. It's in an hour. So whether or not the boys do well or not in this game is going to decide our fate for Clash. We'll put it that way. Alright. Let's get down into business. Turn everything on. And we go over the matchups as usual. Mordekaiser Illaoi top lane, Set jungle against Lee Sin. Kiana, Cassio mid. Caitlyn Soraka versus Urgot Pantheon. Wow, okay. That's interesting. Not saying it's bad. It is interesting. It is. Is it that terrifying early on? I wonder. It is against a Caitlyn. If any ADC can abuse lane matchups like this early on, it's probably Caitlyn. We are going to have a double invading into the long brush. Soraka reveals herself first and she eats Sonic Wave to the face, but that's going to be the end of that invade coming right out. Red team can't continue under this circumstance. Urgot started his E, which I believe is called Disdain. Am I right? Yes, it is called Disdain, which is such a weird ability name. Honestly. He also started Call. This is incredibly greedy from Urgot Pantheon. Against especially Caitlyn with Soraka support. Now if they go aggro enough, then yeah, any lane could work, but when the Urgot started Disdain, instead of maybe Corrosive Charge or something like that, I wonder if the Q is still called that. It is still called that, cool. Yeah, it's a very weird optimization very early on. Not sure if this will pay off. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if this unorthodox lane pairing actually works out. It'll be very funny if it does. Disdain does miss. Soraka started StarCon, so that's going to be Caitlyn's heal very early on. She needs to try to get out of there. Long flash across the wall. That's going to get her out safe and sound, but she is way worse for wear. Urgot still has all his summoners, so does the Pantheon. He needs to be careful. The other heal comes out from Soraka. Double heal now used for all lane. But now everybody dropping so incredibly low. One more Q. That seals the deal. Caitlyn picks up first blood at a sliver of her health. Extremely poorly executed by the Pantheon. And now Caitlyn receives a cookie in her inventory. She can use that to heal back up if she needs to. However, that first blood very early on did seal the deal. Soraka didn't start W, well, as you shouldn't, but it wasn't necessary. They did blow double heal critically. Soraka level 2 takes Equinox. Once again, the actually correct choice. You don't really take Astral Infusion until you're level 3 or so. Unless something horrible happens, but Pantheon has a click on stun. Disdain is not going to land. It's very far and has a million years of wind-up time. So it's going to be very difficult to actually latch onto anyone in this lane, especially Caitlyn Soraka, 2 range carries. Well, 2 range characters, not carries. So the latest change to Soraka in 10.4, thank God, killed off top lane and mid lane Soraka. Pretty sure for good. Pretty sure for good. The rejuvenation nerf is pretty severe. And that made her solo trading power just insanely low. However, I think it actually buffed support Soraka. Astral Infusion now costs significantly less while you're rejuvenating. To the point where at rank 5, you no longer need to spend health to heal when the rejuvenation is running. Granted, rejuvenation is also passed over, so only works once. But when that is all of the change list, it actually benefits support Soraka quite a bit. It means in lane you are hurting way less for health when you do this. And it does allow support Soraka to play significantly more aggressively in lane. So I am very much in favor of this change. Top lane Soraka is quite a degenerate pick. And I'm glad that it was actually addressed. I'm going to make the bold claim that top Soraka is now dead. You no longer have the trading and staying power with reduced rejuvenation and the reduced movement speed. It can still be played, but it's not going to be effective enough where it's worth running. Oh, that's a long distance Sonic Wave, so Caitlyn's gonna pay dearly for that. But at least Caitlyn walks away from a kill. Urgot 9 CS against 26. 4.5 minutes in, just not having a good time in this lane. Only 9 kills on his call. 4.5 minutes in, and he started that item too. And now it's a call plus boots against BF Sword. So this lane is just going worse and worse. Facebreaker not finding the Cassiopeia. Cassio will just walk away from that gank scot-free. Mordekaiser is trading blows top lane against the Illaoi. This is another matchup that I haven't really talked about. I dislike Illaoi very much. I think she is very unfun to play against. I'm skirting around the word oppressive because I personally think that it is true that her laning is oppressive, but it may not be the most dominant matchup possible. But to me it is, because I just can't play against her. I know how in theory you should beat her, but it always seems like no matter what I do, you just lose that lane. And so I personally really hate going up against her. I won't really comment too much on this matchup in particular. I do think Mord is slightly has a slight advantage in this matchup just because it's way harder for an Illaoi to punish a Mordekaiser. And in a full-on slap fight, Mordekaiser will definitely handily beat Illaoi, unless Illaoi has ultimate. That ultimate is such a wild card. This is not going to be a freeze bot lane, but they can build up a massive wave and crash it. Equinox, very, very aggressive Equinoxes going in. Equinox does have one purpose in this lane. It cancels Pantheon's Spear. If he's winding one up to throw a long distance, a silence will cancel it. It does not cancel Aegis Assault, and it does not cancel Urgot Purge. I think. I have never done it. I don't think it should cancel Purge. But then again, some interactions in this game are inconsistent. Just in theory it shouldn't, at least. Pantheon steps onto the trap. Very cheeky trap hidden behind the tower, so you can't see it until you step on it. However, on the flip side, that also means that you also can't click on the target as well. This thing grabs on the Soraka, instant flashback. No death, but Urgot takes such a huge chunk of his life in damage. He came back with the Ruby Crystal. These are not items that you wanna be holding on to lane when the Caitlyn is just free roaming down in bot lane. Lee Sin is here. What can he do? He pings towards the brush. No threats. The Pantheon jumps, stuns the Caitlyn. That's a click on. Aegis Assault, not finding anything. Lee Sin steps on a trap on his way out. Set kills off the dragon, so he is in close proximity. But red team calls off that gank. No major death, but Caitlyn loses her flash. And the Death Realm comes in. Mordekaiser takes Illaoi in for a ride. That flash not enough to dodge Tethel face. It doesn't even work like that. What are you thinking? But the Death Realm did wear off. The one mace brings that kill down. So far 1-0-1 is the Mordekaiser working on an early Seekers. Not turning into an Hourglass if he is reasonable. And will go instead for his core items. Right Eyes into Liandry's. That was a very good trade or very good decision to dive in by Mordekaiser. And look at this, Illaoi. 8 minutes in, first item, QSS. Really terrified really terrified of the Death Realm. So terrified that she actually just first item QSS. People meme about the QSS tax against champions like Skarner and Mordekaiser, but you shouldn't do that this early. You have basically lost yourself the lane. It is not worth buying 1350 very early on in lane when it goes to accrue wealth. It's so not worth spending 1350 just so the enemy can't kill you with one thing. It doesn't save you from the rest of his kit. Not as much as like a Hex Drinker. In fact, should have just gone for a Hex Drinker and fight him in the Death Realm. Building a QSS this early just means that you've accepted that you're being bent over by the Mordekaiser and you're just trying to make the pain stop. But that's also not the correct mentality that you want to play matchups in. You don't ever build your items anticipating to lose. And you don't you're just working on your get out of jail free card basically. Lee Sin is now going to go for the first Herald a minute after the Herald has spawned, but now Blue Pings furiously coming down onto the pit. How close is Lee Sin to finishing it? Not very close at all. Can Kiana catch him with play the same talent? She's going to jump over. Dragon's Rage kicks her back. She can't dash in. She has the grab. She grabs the wall and tries to close the gap. She has her ultimate, doesn't she? Yes, she does. She's not using it. Supreme Display talent crashes onto the early wall. It's not going to find the target. Cassiopeia is now in. Kiana's being pinched out. Ilaoi coming in. Mordekaiser is so low. He might be the next victim. Wish comes down. Lee Sin grabs the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike. He takes it down. Kiana dives in. 1v3. She wants this kill, but she no longer has any cooldowns left. All of her dashes have been whiffed. She no longer has an ultimate. She drops down the grass, but it's not enough. Flashing over. Seth wants the kill as well. The showstopper slamming the Lee Sin away. Haymaker not finding the kill. Lee Sin lives with a shred of his health. In the meantime, his soul is getting pounded by the Ilaoi. So Cassiopeia grabs that kill. Disastrous 3-0 in the top jungle for blue team. But the Urgot ultimate misses at bot lane. Caitlyn coming in for a full trade. She gets grabbed back by the Disdain, but that's just helping her. She gets in auto range for the Pantheon and takes that kill, winning this 2v2. So far, a 2-for-3 trade across the map with a decisive victory for red top and 1 for blue team bottom. Very interesting series of events, and watching that entire sequence was just Kiana misplays left and right. And she pays for that dearly with 1 death and nothing to show for it. Seth also losing his critical flash just to die. In the meantime, Caitlyn does get the first turret. So now this game is actually quite even despite the disaster top lane. Kiana finds herself in a scuffle in mid. She needs to play a lot more careful now. That supreme display of talent, slamming onto the wrong wall. She should have done it a lot earlier. Lee Sin had so many chances to just instantly die. Like, she should have done it in the Herald pit, but she chose not to. A very indecisive play is costing her a lot of kills, honestly. But Seth, beautiful dodge on the Petrifying Gates. He is dropping so low. Haymaker shield buys him a fraction of a second. That's not enough. However, I will still give him credit for that beautiful dodge on the Cassio ult. Supreme Display of Talent, V2 comes down. This one actually finds the mark onto the Urgot. But so far, 3-for-3 in the river, they're not going to engage. They're just going to stare at each other, shout some insults, and they'll all back off. Alright, we're back. I just have to type an essay real quick. Ilaoi pops her ultimate, spawning 3 tentacles, but she will die before Tesla Phase can really do major damage. Pantheon is now alone in the middle of blue team, so he is going to die so far. 3-for-0 with a 4th coming right up, and that's also going to be Dragon, which just spawned to witness this carnage. And he is going to be the next victim on the map. Lee Sin is the lone survivor. Can he do anything here? Caitlyn chasing him down with a water gun. Netting over, she wants this kill. Lee Sin Sonic Wave Resonating Strike connects. Red Smite dealing some damage. Nope, just kidding. He smited last. Why do people smite last with Red Smite? It reduces damage, but come on. He should have done that immediately, like during mid-flight. That's how you get damage off your smite. I'll never understand why people with Red Smite use it like it's Blue Smite. Red Smite does not do damage until you start hitting them. And if you use it last, it does absolutely nothing. He is going to concede away the second Drake. So now blue team in a rather decisive advantage. 11 kills to 5. Mordekaiser too. He's actually done what I said he shouldn't do, which is finish Zanya's. You really don't need to, but he's so far ahead that he can just slap around the Illaoi, especially when the Illaoi makes an equally terrifying decision in her purchases. You should get a QSS, you shouldn't get it first. It is so early in the lane that being trapped in the Death Realm is just about the least threatening thing that can happen to you. Wasting your first 1350 gold on not your early mid-game items, that's even more terrifying. Very questionable item choice, to say the least. Caitlyn eating some poison darts to the face, or poison fangs rather. She is quite fed, 5, 1, and 3. And as expected, this Urgot bot pick just did not work out. The Dragon's Rage finding absolutely nothing. He finds a trap too on his way out. Easiest Lee Sin kill of all time. He even donates a pain core just for the hell of it. Not the best decision from a Lee Sin, playing like he's actually blind. The more that he is in the prime position to slap this matchup around. He is so strong here. He can do whatever he wants basically. That's also a very easy kill on the Urgot. I don't even have a comment for that. It's just, oh man. That was a good Zanya's, denying her any way to bash onto spirits. But Illaoi ultimate is still running and might not be enough. She dodges out of the Q's range, so that's going to be the end of that trade. Meanwhile, in mid lane, we do have the siege still continuing. Everyone's backed off except the Soraka. That's a miscommunication, so that's going to be... Soraka's actually first death of the game. She is going to pick up her redemption now as her next item choice. Unfortunately, a clear miscommunication, or rather blindness on Soraka's part, not realizing that her entire team has pulled out behind her. Qiyana gets found in the enemy jungle. She needs to make her way out. Can she actually do it? The grass invisibility actually breaks her ankles for a slight bit, but does she have the cooldown? She does. She grabs the wall and makes her way out. 4 members now hot on her tail. 3 of them continue the chase. Cassiopeia coming in as well. The Urgot all misses. Grand Starfall comes down. Pantheon walked away for a second. He's not in range for W. So many ultimates committed! Oh no. That should have been a free kill. But unfortunately none of their critical abilities landed. And they used them all, which is the tragic part. That's quite bad, to put it lightly. Lee Sin jumps over the Raptors and immediately finds a set. He's going to smite the big boy away and walk away. Qiyana, she wants this. Can she get it? She is quite... Well, she's not quite fed, but this Urgot is quite underfed. He turns on the Purge. It is critically not rank 5. And that's going to be the end of Urgot for the 6th time this game. He still hasn't finished call. Petrifying Gaze stuns the set. Facebreaker grabs back 2, but no stun. The slow isn't enough. Pantheon walks away. Limping away, rather. Sonic Wave not going to find the mark. Does he have the Tempest? He could slam the ground and kill her off. Qiyana grabbing elements left and right to try to get some dash distance. But Lee Sin's in range for the Tempest. This ground slam killing off the Qiyana. Set wants the revenge, but Lee Sin is mobile. So he will get out of there. Target marked on the Pantheon. Unfortunately, Aegis Assault as a skill exists in this game. So he is just fine. Has Urgot finally hit level 9? He has. Unfortunately, his call still not done. 18.5 minutes in. Which means he's killed less than 100 minions in almost 20 minutes. His CS score will reflect that, of course. But, you know, there are also other things like wars and jungle stuff in there that's not accounted for in call. The Death Realm kidnaps the Cassiopeia. That's not the correct target. She can machine gun more down in the Death Realm. Then again, Illaoi does have QSS. The Cassiopeia picks up that kill in the Death Realm. Mordekaiser pushing solo up top far too long and finally receives his just punishment. Caitlyn now 168 CS. Are you kidding me? She is so incredibly strong now. Stormrazor's done. Aya just done. She's gonna work on her next item. Oh boy. Meanwhile, this Urgot doesn't even have Black Cleaver, although his call finally done. His call is finally done, and that gave him the cash injection that he bided 19 minutes of his time for, which allows him to be only one item behind Caitlyn. One full item, not even an ingredient. As opposed to just being unsalvageably behind. It is an Urgot. When you get this guy to late game, he could be a terrifying threat. Like an actual armored tank that people are shooting arrows at. He won't die, he'll kill everything. I don't think you can do that with press the attack. You might want to go Conqueror for this purpose. In fact, I don't know why he wouldn't press the attack at all. Is there some cheese strat that just horribly backfired that I'm unaware of? Even Pantheon, he too wants his back cleaver, but he's even further from getting that done. He also went Merctress this game. Equally interesting choice. It is not the best thing to run. Okay, so Chakras, or I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, but he recently made, or at least should have started a series where he criticizes the builds of LCS players and basically says why this or that is unoptimal Chakras. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, but basically in that series, he just goes over like minor things, you know, things like Kabi building Triforce on Senna, or top laners running Tabai, or should have run Tabai over Merctress. And this is a classic case of that, of Pantheon building Merctress over Tabai when Merctress is the far inferior boot in this case. Sett runs into a face full of CS, but Soraka will keep him alive and the redemption resetting his health bar. A teleport is coming in, the Root will not find it. The soul grab lands on Caitlyn. Mordekaiser stranded in the back with the Urgot. Urgot friends will come, and Mordekaiser is in the 1v5 for now. Showstopper gets a slam on 2. They are also, so Facebreaker slams on the 4. Now that's going to be a total wipe on red team. Cassiopeia has to run for her life. Soraka flashes over the wall to catch up to a friendly Kiana. Caitlyn flashes in. She wants his kill. The silence going down on the Cassiopeia. Now the bullets are coming down slow and steady. The crit taking down the Cassiopeia, and Sett cleans up the Lee Sin top lane. 1 for 5. Complete wipe for red team on the top side of the map, no less. That is going to be a Baron Nashor, except Soraka is dying. So she has to try to get back. She won't even get rejuvenation here. She will eat some grapes. But are they still going to commit for the Baron? They should start it now. The respawn timers aren't that short. They're going to do it on top of a ward. It gets swept out, and Sett is on the purpose of clearing it. 8,000. No major movements from rest side. Urgot's farming bot. Because why the hell not? No one's gonna come contest this. Not even come contest the Caitlyn that they clearly see is shooting on the other side of the wall before that ward died. Blue team takes on Baron Nashor. 11,000 gold lead. My goodness. So before that team fight broke out, I was talking about Pantheon's boot choice. Merctress is awful in this game. Let's look at all the CC that you're potentially reducing. We're not even looking at the armor versus MR, because that debate should be immediately settled. Against Caitlyn, against Kiana, against Sett. Not so much Kiana, but at least Caitlyn and Sett. They are auto attack focused. You get Tabai. Reduce that. It is so much more important than anything that Mordekaiser can ever do to you in terms of just getting MR. Now, in terms of tenacity, as opposed to reducing MR damage, tenacity is not good in this game. The Caitlyn Trap's mini stun cannot be reduced by tenacity. Mordekaiser shove back cannot be reduced. Mordekaiser death realm cannot be reduced. Kiana knockup cannot be reduced. The knockup portion of Supreme Display of Talent. That's actually a surrender, but I'll keep talking. The Supreme Display of Talent stun 1 second. That is reducible, but it's also 1 second. Even if you get hit in the very center of it. Soraka silence. Not cleansable because it's an AoE lasting zone. Facebreaker, Showstopper. None of that on Sett can be reduced by a Merctress. I don't know why he built that item. It's awful. And it's so awful, in fact, that they lose the game off it.